Man, oh man. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Nemesis Online Racing League. Round number 10 of the championship here at Silverstone in Britain. And we're currently going through one-shot qualifying, as is usually the case. You can see it's currently Chazza who is leading the way on this lap so far. He's closely followed by Danny Binlahar, splitting the two Ferraris on this lap thus far. Defstead's up in an impressive fourth as we go through the second sector. Ragnar fifth as well. Lord Jorg had a little bit of a rough sector, therefore drops down to P8. And I believe I just heard some stiff mulls, which means I can confirm that we have a very special guest here in the booth today. It's Zach Swerder of Sonic X49, previous NORL racer. Hello, welcome.
Hello, Toby, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Silverstone. I apologize if I was having a bit of technical difficulties with my Turtle Beach headset. Of course, you know, a few little things I had to switch around, but we are up and going right now. So, but yes, it is indeed great to be back here commentating, of course, with you, Toby. And it's actually been over a year since I've got to commentate a NORL race. It was the last time I was back in F1 2017 on Monaco. So it's great to be here.
So as we complete one-shot qualifying, Chazza takes a whopping pole position by 7/10 of a second ahead of Danny Binlahar in the Renault in second. So great effort by Chazza to pull that one out of the bag. As it was my understanding, it was his teammate who was faster in the practice session. So as we just load up the race as we usually do and get ready to go racing, we can load up the information on our PC. And we can actually, let's go have a look and see what the championship looks like. So we haven't spoke about the championship for some time, as Zach can read you through the results.
All right, so the qualifying results is, as stands with Chaz HG coming out with a pole and Danny Binlahar coming in second. Niblo with a good lap time here in the Scuderia Ferrari comes in. Defstead with a very good performance. Him qualifies fourth in the Force India. Ragnar comes out fifth. Lord Jordan UK comes in sixth in the Mercedes. And Altanovic in the McLaren comes out seventh. Colin J. Spencer in eighth in the Force India as well. Dougie Offerman coming in ninth for a Sauber, so he'll be looking to get a decent point here if he can keep his cool throughout the race. And in the top 10, I believe, was Subaru STI Ryan. So good qualifying up for the rest of the top 10 there.
Yeah, definitely. So as we were just talking about the championship before we get going, it is very much a case of Niblo leading the championship on 165 points, and his teammate Chazza, who starts on pole, of course, today, on 137 points. Something I did notice. Now, we did say that we expected Niblo to have very good pace here and was kind of shocked by that third place. I noticed when he was reading the results out, he's starting on the medium tyres. So that qualifying lap was on medium compound tyres, which are a lot harder and a lot slower. So a very interesting strategy by Niblo, and one that's going to pay pretty good dividends. Danny Binlahar, who obviously splits the two Ferraris, sorry about that, lines up in third in the championship, about 29 points off Chazza in second, so he could interfere with Ferrari's plans today. As for other battles, we have quite a good battle lining up for P6. That's Testomeister, who isn't here today as far as I'm aware. He lines up just a point ahead of Nemesis Racing, so good effort for Nemesis Racing as the cars get away on our formation lap. And yes, like you said, very good, impressive placing for Defstead, lining up in P4. That's his best qualifying of the season. But like we said, as we look at the tyres, Niblo, Anel Tanovic, Callum Spencer, Dougie Aframan, and Galactic Skull 2 all lining up on the medium, Zach, and going for a much longer first stint.
Yeah, Niblo on the medium tires here as, of course, third place. So it was a very good lap, according to everything else. So especially when you're setting on the medium tires, of course, they're the harder compound tires, and so it's going to be interesting to see what he can do, because he's got, of course, Chazza and Danny Binlahar up ahead of him, and then he's got a very quick Defstead behind him in fourth here, and they're all on the soft. So between Niblo and Defstead, I think if Niblo can get a good jump on Defstead, he should be able to hold out on third. Whether or not we'll have a first corner incident here, but look at this, Toby. I don't know about you, but I am seeing some drops of rain. So this will be very interesting to see if any of these guys are going to, obviously they're going to take very close attention to see if this rain will do anything. So this could play a card into the mix here if this rain comes in.
Very true, and that could play disaster, or it could play into the hands of the medium drivers, and it's completely wide open. It depends how long it's going to take for this rain to get heavy. Obviously, if it's later in the race, then it's worked out perfectly for the mediums, but if it's going to come within the first 5-6 laps, then it's perfect for the boys on the soft compound tyres. Once again, we will remind you, you don't have to worry about people getting disqualified on the formation lap. That just means they've made contact and they will just sit on the grid. However, we will say that that does have an effect because they don't have the chance to warm their tyres. They have to sit while their tyres get cold. Now that will affect them, especially with this rain coming down, and it's going to be a very slippery first few laps. So, as we come around the final corner, we're getting the cars coming up to the grid. So just to remind you again, Chaz is starting on the soft compound tyres, as is Danny Ibn Lahar. The first of the mediums will be Nibbler on the medium compound tyres. Then Defstez and Ragnar behind, as well as Lord Jord UK, all starting on the soft compound tyres. Then it's a trio of mediums with Anil Tanovic leading, Callum Spencer and Dougie Aframan. Subaru Ryan will line up in 10th on the softs, and Galactic Skull 2 separates them on the mediums. Murcielago and Nemesis Racing start on softs behind them as we get ready to go racing at Silverstone for round number 10 of the Nemesis Online Racing League F1 2018 Championship. Round 10, here we go. Who's going to get the better start off the line? We're about to find out now. Will Danny Ibn Lahar steal the pole position from Chaz, or will Chaz maintain it? Lights out, and away we go. And immediately you can see it's Danny Ibn Lahar that's got the better start. He has the inside line for turn 1. Will he be able to take it? No, Chazza holds it on the outside. Good stuff by Chazza. Look, meanwhile in the background, Nibbler looking to try and make ground on Danny Ibn Lahar, trying to go all the way around the outside. And there's a Toro Rosso that's come steaming in. Big contact. Nibbler's been shoved off the road, big damage in the background there, and that Toro Rosso was Ragnar. Ragnar's got a lot of damage. I saw a lot of front wing come off there. Murcielago's the big loser in all of that though. Nibbler does overtake Ragnar for P4, but it's still not over yet because Ragnar looking for something on the outside. Anything doing? No, but now he's got to worry about Lord Jord on his inside. Lord Jord up into P4, takes that position away from Ragnar. What a crazy start as Ragnar's still tussling with Lord Jord, trying to hold it on the outside. Crazy start, and it's Lord Jord getting involved there. Sorry, no, it's not. It's Callum Spencer now trying to make a move up as we head on the inside to Cops. Ragnar P5, Callum Spencer P6, but for how long inside? It's Callum Spencer, surely. No, Ragnar holding on the outside, abusing the track limits, and it's been a disastrous start for the sister Force India Defstez.
I tell you one thing, Ragnar came in like a rocket ship coming into turn 1. I'm not sure what happened, if he missed his braking point, but of course he literally dive bombed, treating everything like it was like a career mode AI. Going into turn 1, it's just so little room that he gave everyone. It was just very unusual how that could happen right here. But yeah, definitely have some front ring damage on that Toro Rosso though, Toby, so we'll have to keep an eye on that and see if he can be able to keep up with everyone. But obviously enough, if it's too bad enough, he wants to pit. But if this rain gets hard enough, Toby, you know, if you're Ragnar, you want to try maybe last as long as you can, but he is losing so many positions, so it might be worth pitting regardless of this rain.
There is some crazy first lap action going on as we have Murcielago coming into the pits and picks up a slam dunk, speeding in the pit lane. Penalty, so that's ruined his day before it even gets underway. The poor bloke, as we can see, Anil Tanovic has made a thunderous move around the outside of turn 2 on Defstez. Fantastic move by Anil Tanovic, and now Defstez will be wanting to make that position back because he's had an absolutely awful start. And what is this? Murcielago in the pit lane is putting on the full wets.
This will be interesting. He must think. He probably sees something that the rest of these guys don't, but obviously this rain, it is coming down a bit hard, but I don't think it's going to be hard enough in time to be able to flood up the track to be able to where you need. I don't even think we're ready for intermediates though, so this will be a very interesting call, and hopefully it doesn't come back to bite him and obviously ruin more of his race as he comes in. He's already got a speeding penalty, so that's going to be an interesting situation right here.
Sorry about that sudden scream. It was Nibbler coming behind Danny Ibn Lahar in the S's of Maggots and Beckett's and almost ploughing into the rear, and such was the better drive he got. Now he's in the slipstream, pulls to the inside of Stowe, going for second place to make it a Ferrari 1-2. Nibbler at the inside. Can Danny hold it on the outside? Yes, he can for now. Nibbler backs out of it. Meanwhile, in the background, Callum Spencer's going at it with Lord Jord UK. Down the inside he goes. Lord Jord loses the position, holds it on the inside. Now has the inside line. Callum Spencer gets forced out of it. Chaz is starting to streak away with his fastest lap, so you can just see riding on board with Callum Spencer, there is no grip. It is starting to get so wet. As we look further down the field, we can see Subaru Ryan being hunted down by the Haas of Nemesis Racing as well. It's all kicking off, and these guys are going to be oh so careful. That's actually a car going wide there. We have a Toro Rosso off the road. That's Ragnar's gone too deep. He's gone too deep, and he's been swatted. We've got a Red Bull just skidding off aquaplaning through turn 2. There is no grip whatsoever. This could be a master stroke for Murcielago. Ragnar's gone. He's gone for a spin.
Jeez. That is insane. And tell you one thing, though, that might actually be Murcielago going on these wets. Actually might have been a good call here, Toby. And just want to point out something. I believe Danny Ben Laha, at least on my screen anyway, could be glitched, so that might be an error to the fault of the game because it's currently showing 12 for him. Because on my screen, he did kind of start a bit weird, like offset. So it might be just a game glitch, so you'll have to keep on Danny Ben Laha the rest of our viewers here, but yeah, we'll see. This rain could be playing havoc with everyone right now, so very interesting. As we take a look right now, on board right now for me, Lord George right behind Colin J. Spencer here. Hopefully he can catch up to him because we've no grip. I can already tell these guys are sliding around all over the place here. As Lord George here is actually losing a bit of ground, kind of came out of Magnus and Beckett's a bit slow, unless Colin J. Spencer can hold on to him. Just no grip whatsoever.
Chaz in the pits.
Taking it very easy.
Chaz is in the pits.
Chaz HD in the pits. So will he go with the Niblo? Uh-oh.
Oh no, they're all getting penalties. They can't stop in time. And it's going to be a double stack for Ferrari. This is terrible. Look at a double stack and one's got a penalty. Oh, this is a nightmare, but it's inters for Chazza. Chazza on the inters. Danny Ibn Lahar stays out, and I think that could be even worse. He does have the lead of the race, for those of us that can see him, but he's out on the dry tyres still. Galactic Skull 2 stays out as well on the mediums. That could be even worse. It's going to be... Oh, Danny Ibn Lahar drifting through the first sector. Yeah, this was the lap to pit, 100%.
Yeah, Danny, sorry about that. Niblo also goes on to the intermediate tires as well, Toby. So both Ferraris go with the intermediates. And so far, Murcielago is the only person so far that's actually chosen the full wets. So we'll have to see if the rain gets harder, if it'll let up here. But so far here, Galactic Skull 2, being the only one that has yet to pit, is out in front. But obviously, you know, that's not going to last very long, though, because it won't be too long. He's already going slow enough. He will obviously have to pit this time. And Chaz is about 7.5 closing in, so it won't be too long for he'll be catching our, so far, not yet to pit Galactic Skull 2.
Oh, we got a spin. Deathstairs has spun in Sector 1. Just missed by Ragnar. He was almost collected in a big way there, and he went for a spin. He came in too hot into turn number 2 and just couldn't stop and did a reverse entry drift, and that's what that yellow flag was for. He's got underway again, though, so he's all good in the hood, and he will continue out. So Danny Ibn Lahar leads as he comes into start on them soft compound tyres. Galactic Skull 2 is second in Maggots and Beckett's, albeit drifting through it, and we'll have to see what the Ferraris can do. I think this could really help Danny Ibn Lahar. Oh, Danny Ibn Lahar stays out. Danny Ibn Lahar, for those of us that can see him, is staying out. For some reason, he's not pitted for inters, and I think he's just ruined his own race. I can't understand why he would stay out, and that is absolutely bizarre. He's got 18 seconds to Galactic Skull 2, as Galactic Skull 2 now does come into the pits. That's bizarre. I'm really not sure why Danny Ibn Lahar, Galactic Skull 2 picks up a penalty as well, joins the club of penalties. But it really didn't work out for Murcielago, did it? He didn't gain at all. He's still 28 seconds off of Deathstairs, so the wets clearly not working either.
Yeah, definitely. And yes, I believe, yes, Danny Ibn Lahar is glitched indeed on my screen. So unfortunately, that is a game error on my end because he is all over the track. So unfortunately for him, yeah, but I think on being on the softs, that does probably ruin his race as well.
Yep, so that's all good. We can still see him on our screen. That's what counts, so we can keep an eye on him. Meanwhile, we can see a battle is starting to form between Nibbler and Anel Tanovic. Now, of course, Nibbler was double-stacked with his Ferrari teammate, and that's the reason he's ended up behind the McLaren of Anel Tanovic. Doesn't really have anywhere to go. He's got such a better run on him. Anel Tanovic defends the inside line in this battle for fourth. How will the McLaren fare against the Ferrari? The Ferrari just has to stay by for a little bit. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 1 again. Who is that for? So we had another spin from someone, and it looks... I'm not sure. Can't see who that yellow flag was for, but whoever it was for, they've got underway. The battle for Nibbler and Anel Tanovic's fourth place still going on. Big gainer in those pit stops, Zach. Callum J. Spencer has moved up from, I believe, what was 6th to 3rd during those chaotic pit stop series, as Lord George and Subaru Ryan are going to go side by side through cops, are they? No, thank God they don't go with that, because that would have never worked in the rain. And Subaru Ryan takes P6 away from Lord George momentarily as the battle for 4th between Anel and Nibbler continues.
Yeah, definitely it does. And so Aneltanovic, he's still defending the lines right now, as we can tell. He's obviously, right now, Danny Abinlaha gets a 5-second stop-go penalty for speeding in the pit lane, so there's another one tally up. Nobody seems to be able to get the cars under control coming into the pit lanes here, so everyone seems to be serving up penalties on a silver platter. So, with that being said, here back on board right here, Aneltanovic going right back into it, does lose some time right here to Niblo, but Niblo is still trailing to him, as Niblo is actually starting to gain right here. Of course, in the rain, I don't think we'll be having the DRS, but it looks like Niblo's got to run on Aneltanovic here to see if he can make something into turn one. No, plays it safe with this wet weather, so I don't exactly blame him, because side-by-side cars in the rain, especially on Silverstone, is not really a plan that you want. Although he is right on the gearbox, Aneltanovic is going to make a move on the inside here on Aneltanovic. Can he make it? Job done, stick, and oh boy, just a little bit almost contact right here, but they're going side by side still as we're going down the straightaway here. But I believe, oh, they're still side by side here right now. Oh my God, these guys just do not want to give up. Aneltanovic on the outside. Here comes Niblo right back at him here, still side by side. They've been side by side since turn one, but I believe Aneltanovic is going to get clear of him if they can keep the cars under control. Boys, there you go. Good acceleration. Great battle between these two, Toby. This is really good, especially in the wet.
Phenomenal driving from these two, and it's not over yet. Nibbler sizes up and move for the inside of Cops. This is going to have to be all or nothing. Oh, so close, a little bit of contact. They both drift through there. Right. Yep, they both run wide as a result of tapping wheels there, and that was never going to work through Cots side by side, was it? So they were very lucky to get away with just that. That separates that battle for a little bit there. Nibbler will have to redo the work. Meanwhile, Lord George UK finds himself right on the back of that Red Bull once again. Danny Lahar has dropped to P8 after all the pit stops, as he left it a little bit too late. Lord George gaining on the Red Bull. Is he going to try and move into Stir? Lets off the throttle as he does that, so not very confident to get through Stir on the inside of Subaru Ryan. Hangs on, but he did have the run there, chose not to do anything with it. That's a big twitch for Subaru Ryan. That brings Lord George back into play as we get, there's another twitch for Ryan. No grip at all in this final sector, and the rain's getting heavier. Will this play back into Murcielaga's hands? Because I could see a potential stop for wets at some point in this race, because it's looking less and less grippy every single lap.
Well, he is about 40 seconds behind, and of course, you know, it takes probably about maybe 15, 20 seconds to get through a full pit stop included, to go down through the pit lane here. So he might be able to gain a little bit, but I don't think it'll be enough for him to get maybe into the points if he's lucky. To me, in my honest opinion, it was a bit too early for Murcielago, but it'll come to him. It'll be very, very lucky if he manages to get into the point here. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens with this rain here, as Niblo, watching this back, is actually gaining right back on Aneltanovic here. And these two have been going at it for quite a while, and so is Lord Yord and Subaru SGI Ryan here, as we take a look. So far, these are about the only two battles I can see on track at the moment, Toby. I'm just kind of scrolling through on my end here. Yeah, so far, these are the only two battles right here. The closest one being Subaru SGI Ryan and Lord George UK.
Coming through Maggots and Beckett's in the rain, a face full of spray from the fat rear tyres of Subaru Ryan will make Lord George's vision all the worse and make his job all the harder as we head onto the back straight, and it looks like Subaru Ryan is the big winner there. Gets a big dose of traction, which helps him run away from the Mercedes. The Mercedes pulls him back in though, using that ERS of course, and using the slipstream. So if we take a look on board of Subaru Ryan as well, these guys both, we can tell that blue bar on the dash of their steering wheel is how much ERS they've got, and they've both got full ERS, so when they need to, they can deploy that. Obviously in the rain, they're not wanting to use it too much, just conserving it a little bit. Meanwhile, Danny Lahar, I believe, has caught right at the back of Nemesis Racing, who's halfway off the track, coming through the final corner. So Danny Lahar right up behind Nemesis Racing, his fellow Italian, as we head towards turn number 2. Is Danny going to try anything monstrous? He is. A long braking move. A long braking move, and you can see Nemesis Racing has soft tyres on the screen. That's just a tyre glitch. He does have inters. I promise he wouldn't have that much grip if he was on the softs. So coming onto the back straight, Danny Lahar looking to set up his compatriot and get past him for P7 after staying out one lap too many on the dry compound tyre. So looking for the inside manoeuvre. A little bit of a half-hearted dive. Nemesis gives him the respect of it, though. But then again, tries to hold it on the outside, but goes off the track. Now comes back on the inside, holding that apex. Danny Bin Lahar should have the better exit here, though. Uses that apex to get some run. Oh, wow, that was really close between Nemesis Racing and Danny Bin Lahar. They almost touched each other coming on the exit of that corner. And now Nemesis Racing looking for the inside of Cop. Surely not. We've seen this being tried with Nibble and Anel already. And this time, that's how you do it. None of them get away with any damage. Danny Bin Lahar up into P7, Zach.
Just going through right here, talking about Murcielago, I believe he is coming back down into the pits. He did have a bit of an off moment as I was watching as you were commentating the Danny Bin Lahar and Nemesis Racing battle. He kind of had an off moment, and I believe he is a lap down. I believe our leader might have lapped him, at least on my end.
Yeah,
so,
they'll be coming up onto the straight now. Anel and Nibbler coming on the start-finish straight as we speak.
Yeah, so Murcielago is back into the pits, though. So and he's actually switching to the inters, Toby. So I believe he's learned his lesson. I believe the wets were just a bit too much for this rain, just not heavy enough. And I don't think the track is collecting the water that much, like in speed-wise. So I believe he kind of shot himself in the foot and has realized that because, plus I believe the tires were probably just shot anyway, because like I said, he had a bit of an off moment here. So, but he's back on the intermediates to join everyone else. So, but unfortunate luck for him, just a bad gamble, and it just didn't pay off for Murcielago.
Yeah, it could have been such a masterstroke if he'd only put the inters on instead of the wets. That would have worked out so much better for him, but unfortunately got that decision wrong. Meanwhile, Nibbler has finally caught Anel Tanovic back up, and the battle for free is reignited. Either way, Callum Spencer been chugging along nicely undercover, has made his way up into second place. A good effort by the Force India driver up in that P2, and these two battling behind him will give him the gap he needs later in the race, as I'm sure Nibbler gets past Anel, he will be charging through, but they're just playing it a little bit safe as we go through Maggots and Beckett's, just staying behind the McLaren, not wanting anything. And it actually looks like the McLaren's a lot more confident through Maggots and Beckett's than Nibbler. So Anel Tanovic is able to pull away when it comes to the back straight, which obviously would be the best overtaking opportunity coming into Stowe. Nothing doing on that occasion. Lord Jord is gaining on Subaru Ryan. Will he be able to try anything? I think he's a bit too far back. Nothing doing on that occasion. And I look like the two Saubers are doing battle as well, with Galactic Skull 2 and Dougie Afroman as we come into Stowe. Galactic Skull 2 has caught the back of his teammate, who's caught the back of Nemesis Racing. So a little triple battle starting to set itself up as Nemesis Racing goes into the pit lane, assuming for more more tyres and more penalties. Yeah. That's
more
not how...
serving.
Yeah, so coming out the final corner, Galactic Skull... Oof, wow, Galactic Skull 2 really wringing the neck of that Sauber there as he chases down his teammate, his fellow compatriot, to go through turn 1 heading into turn 2. It's very interesting when you battle your teammate. You do tend to show him a bit more respect than you would another driver, but you're eager to prove who's the better driver in that team. So the two Scotsmen in the Saubers doing just that. And that's actually Nemesis Racing going on to the wet compound tyres as Murcielago came off. So that's a gamble taken by Nemesis Racing. Will that pay off or not? I'm not sure. Galactic Skull 2 gaining. Anything at the end of it? No, but I'll tell you where there is something gaining. And Nibbler and Anel Tanovic are going at it side by side, coming into Cops once again. And this time Nibbler backs out of what could have been a big accident. Just like last time, they got away with it. And I don't think he wants to test his luck again. We'll stay on board with Nibbler to see if he can gain through Maggots and Beckett's. But he's just struggling in the rain, is the Ferrari driver. Coming out the final section of Maggots and Beckett's, Anel Tanovic went a bit wide and went on the grass. That might help his case a little bit, but yeah, Anel Tanovic so much more comfortable when it comes to that straight, as Lordjaw looks like he's in pretty close to Subaru Ryan now. He's actually lost a bit out as well. So it looks like it's very hard to follow cars coming out of the final section of Maggots and Beckett's. Speaking of which, Galactic Skull 2 is closer than anybody.
Yes, indeed. And I can tell you one thing, though, talking about the Anel Tanovic and Nibbler battle, it's kind of hard to tell which one has the better setup because, at least in my point of view, it looks like Nibbler kind of has the better straight line speed than Anel Tanovic, at least coming down the straight. And just Anel Tanovic seems to just flies off into the sunset through the corner. So I'm not sure if Anel Tanovic has at least a better downforce setup, some better suited for this rain, or it's just, you know, he's just kind of taking it more easy going down the straight so he can set himself up better for the corners. But either way, regardless of a setup or not, those two have been battling so hard to each other, and I'm not sure who's going to be able to come out this in front of the other. It could go either way, especially if one of the other makes a mistake in this wet weather. So, but pretty so far smooth driving for both of them. I'm very pleased with how they're treating each other with respect, especially on Niblow's end, because it is so hard to hydroplane and crash into the guy in front of you here. And as you can take a look now, Niblo trying to get whatever slipstream he can on the McLaren here. Gets a good run going into the corner, but just lets off because he knows that he can probably get a run somewhere else. I think he's just sizing him up and watching where that McLaren might be strong and where he's weak, Toby.
Yeah, we just saw while he was commentating that Dougie Aframan did pull to one side and let his teammate through on the start-finish straight. So team orders that Sauber to allow the faster driver through on that occasion. Meanwhile, as well, Des says has pitted and is just coming out of the pits now for wet tyres as well. So a few drivers starting to switch to the wet compound tyres now, and it'll be interesting to see which one of the top. I'd say the top 5 is the first to switch to those wet compound tyres, because then we'll know that they really need them, because obviously these top 5 are all going to mirror each other, and we won't really know how bad they need to make the overtake on the switch to those wet compound tyres until one of the top 5 does. Now, this is a very close battle through turn 1 between Niblo and Anil, and Niblo does look like the faster driver, just can't find a way through, and Ragnar picks up a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. He's actually 2 tenths behind. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 2. What is that for? I'm trying to search for it. I can't see it.
I believe it is Nemesis. I believe it's Nemesis. He just looks like he's recovering. Probably from a spin. He was going very slow when I switched to him, so I think he's the one that brought out the yellow flag here, but he's back off and going, and the yellow flag is taken away. So I believe it's just a simple spin in the wet weather. He's probably got some, a bit of adjusting on the wet weather tires here because he's so used to these intermediates. So, but actually switching back through the Niblo battle with Anil Tanovic again, right on the gearbox. Niblo once again here. I believe he might actually try. He seems like he's committed to it, going down to the inside, but then backs off as Anil Tanovic uses what track he can to try to stay ahead of the Ferrari here. So Niblo knows he can make a move. I think he's just deciding when's the right time. Or, Toby, he could be waiting to see which one, like you were just saying, which one takes the pit stop strategy here and could try to maybe try to outdo him in the pits. So we'll just have to see how they play it out, but it looks like he kind of lost some ground. He kind of went off the track just a teeny bit through Maggots and Beckett's here, but I believe he'll catch that back up real quick as he showed the pace compared to Anil Tanovic.
Yeah, we did just have a yellow flag in Sector 1. That was Nemesis Racing spinning once again. So the wet weather tyres don't look like they're the best option at the moment, and I doubt we'll see the top 5 taking them any time soon. Meanwhile, Danny Bin Lahar has just caught up and passed Subaru Ryan. Is Subaru Ryan going to let that one slide? No, Subaru Ryan comes into the pits. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 1 once again. Who is that for? Not sure, can't quite see anything that stands out to me, but we do have Subaru Ryan coming into the pits. Doesn't pick up a penalty, so we finally had a driver who's figured out when to slow the car down. We got a yellow flag in Sector 2 again, though, so someone's having some drama. I just have no idea who, but it'll be interesting to see what Ryan puts on that Red Bull. Will it be the wet compound tyres? What a run, by the way, from Niblo out of the section. Now down the hanger straight, has the inside. Surely this is going to be the move up the inside for P3. Anil Tanovic will fight it for all his worth. Try hold it on the outside. That's a good defense from Anil Tanovic. Niblo tries to hang it on the outside. We'll try go for the switchback, and then it will set him up for a run into Cops. That's what he's done so many times before. Can he do it again? He needs to be passed before they get to Cops, because obviously Anil on the outside has the advantage when they get there. Who's ahead? The side by side, and Niblo's through, and he goes a little bit wide though. That's going to allow Anil Tanovic back on the under the inside, and Anil's back into P3. What a stellar defense by the McLaren driver today, really putting a form in the championship leaders side.
When Anil read Niblo's move, he knew what he was going to do, because as they were coming into the corner, he let off, went for the switchback, because he knew Niblo was going to run wide. And so he did that, and that gave him the run coming out of the corner. Such masterful driving from Anil Tanovic, reading his opponent just like a true professional racer. And I tell you one thing, Toby, that rain is actually getting just a bit harder. So will we see wet weather tires actually come into play now, as it looks like it's really coming down a bit harder than it has been, especially through Maggots and Beckett's, as I believe Anil Tanovic, yes, he is coming into the pits now. Anil Tanovic, we'll see what tires he goes on, because as we were coming out of Maggots and Beckett's into the straightaway, it looked like the rain, especially there, Toby, was really coming down through there. So I believe in certain sections of this track we could be seeing Anil Tanovic stays on the intermediates. So he thinks we're still intermediate-wise, but I don't think it'll be too long until we will be seeing probably some wet weather racing here for full wets.
Just watched a pretty heated battle between Dougie Afroman and Ragnar for PA, which came out as a result of Ragnar coming out on top. But that does release Nibbler. We said he was the faster car, and he just couldn't find a way past. So we'll see what Nibbler is able to do. Now he has some clean air, and Nemesis racing back into the pits on the wet tyres, and he's pitted for a second pair of wets. So a lot of people with a lot of different opinions on what tyres we should be on at the moment, and that's what makes it exciting in times like this. Of course, we're only 14 laps in, 12 laps to go, and a lot can happen in 12 laps, and no one really knows what tyres they should be on. We can see by, obviously, general consensus, it seems to be the case of the Inters seem to be the better tyre, but at the moment, we've got a few guys who think wets are the option, but it has to be said, the people who think the wets are the option are in the lower half of the field, so not working well for them. Two Force Indias coming up on each other, by the way. Callum Spencer's about to lap his teammate, so Destes will need to get out of the way, and he does. He just drives straight off the circuit to let Callum Spencer through. That was a knee-jerk reaction from Destes there. And we were just about to say who the big winners and losers of this race are so far, Zach. If we go on to positions gained, it's Callum Spencer's gained 6 positions. By the way, Anil Tanovic is on the rear of Dougie Afroman, and wow, Dougie Afroman goes defensive, but Anil Tanovic still goes for it. Anil really had to work for that one. By the way, Lord George UK picks up a penalty as he pits, speeding in the pit lane. So yeah, Callum Spencer is the big gainer in terms of positions, with 6 positions gained. Good effort from Galactic Skull 2 as well. He's now 6 positions gained, but the big loser is Destes, 7 positions dropped from his 4th place. Really not agreeing with the rain here, and really struggling. But as we see right now, Lord Jordan in the pits and Dougie Afroman. Now, will these guys go wets, or will they go? It's wet tyres for the Sauber. Can't quite see what it is on Lord Jordan. Lord Jordan's gone inters, and the Sauber's gone wets. So different strategies once again, Zach, and it's so good when no one knows what strategy to take.
It is, and I can tell you one thing, just watching Lord George's pit stop, I could tell when he went to the intermediate, so I could tell, you know, I think he seems more comfortable with these intermediates, but, you know, sometimes with the rain, it's very hard to tell. Sometimes your car can, depending on how hard the rain is falling, it can feel better on inters, and sometimes it can feel better on the wets. It just depends on what the car is set up with. And so, but yeah, different strategies means we could be seeing some very excellent racing here, and especially to see, excited to see if Dougie Afroman can do something with the Lord George here. But he does have to get past Subaru STI Ryan, who is still on intermediates. He's actually behind Lord George now, and so that means he has to try to hold off a very confident Dougie Afroman here. As we take a look now, just going to run through the field on my end here. Take a look at Anil Tanovic once again. He's actually catching up to Ragno here, as we're just coming through the end of the final straightaway here. So it won't be too long right now that Anil Tanovic will come up on the gearbox of Ragno, as Ragno had a bit of an issue a little while ago as he got a 5-second stop-go penalty, so that kind of allowed Anil Tanovic to catch back up to him. But Anil Tanovic is at a masterful drive. We saw him, of course, battling with Niblo. He's been, you know, really reading his opponents here. So he's had a very good drive here. So he deserves a lot more than this, personally. But just hasn't had the luck with, you know, traffic-wise battling with Niblo. And, of course, the rain kind of helps too. But I think had the rain not come in, I think he would have been very, very quickly.
Yeah, of course, he has been the first of the top 5 to pit for the second time. And I'm just wondering if Chazza, Callum and Nibbler are all going for a one-stop strategy here today, whereas Anil's gone for the 2-stop. Now, Anil is known for doing the alternate strategy to everyone else, so maybe that's where he's decided to do. Struggling to keep up with Ragnar at the moment, though, and there isn't really any gaps whatsoever. Murcielago has got up into 12 at the expense of Nemesis, so Nemesis is the one who's struggling at the moment. But yeah, the smallest gap is Anil and Ragnar. I am just watching Nibbler and Callum Spencer though. Like I said, I was interested to see what Nibbler could do when he was finally released, albeit on dead tyres. I'll be interested to see how quick, if he can, catch Callum Spencer. He's got the gap to 5.5 seconds at the moment. We'll keep an eye on that over the next few laps, and we'll see if he can gain that Ferrari 1-2 after being caught up in that battle. Or will the battle with Anil have prevented that today? And could we see a Force India on the podium? And it will be the best result of, I think it'll be the tied best result of Callum Spencer's NORL career. By the way, we have Callum, no we don't, we have Defstez, sorry, and Danny Ibn Lahar coming into the pits. Once again, now, what is Danny Ibn Lahar going to do? Is it going to be inters or is it going to be wets? It's inters for Defstez's and it's inters for Danny Ibn Lahar. So it looks like these guys are very comfortable to stay on the inters, but Danny Ibn Lahar serving that 5-second time penalty, of course. Anil Tanovic right on the back of Ragnar now has caught him through turn 1 into turn 2. He goes very close, very fierce, and wow, this is the difference that 10 laps younger tyres will make, as Ragnar has no traction at all to defend from the bright orange McLaren. And you kind of get the feeling it's but a moment of time. Galactic scored 2 pits as well for new inters, so inters very much the decision of the evening. Now that's interesting actually, because that splits strategies that from the Sauber. So the Sauber's not agreeing on strategy. Dougie Aframan has just referred back to his teammate, telling him the wet tyres are not the right decision.
Yeah, so definitely showing here as we take a look now. Dougie Aframan just passed Nemesis. Nemesis not having a very good race as he is actually losing a lot more grip here. As you can tell, just watching Nemesis, just watching him going through, and I believe Dougie Aframan will experience as well, at least on Nemesis' side, he's just sliding all over the place here. So obviously he's probably got, he wasn't probably expecting this rain here. He's probably got a very fast setup for dry racing, and so when you put on these wet tires as well, it just doesn't really like the car as well.
Oh,
so unfortunately,
Defstez has crashed.
Yeah,
so,
definitely. Just looking at right now, he's on the, I believe this is the exit out of the pits, I believe.
It's the exit out of the old pits, not just the pits, the old pits.
Yep, so definitely here going through Shaza HD. We haven't talked about him much. He's actually, like you said, we have a 15-second gap between him and Colin J. Spencer. So Shaza putting in some work here. As you were talking about, probably seeing some one-stops out of the top 3. So it'll be interesting to see if these guys play. We're both looking at all 3 of them are on 14 laps old tires, Toby. Will the wear start playing effect to the top 3, or do you think they might be safe? And especially with Ragno 2 being on the older tires as well, how do you think that's going to play with these older intermediates?
Yeah, the tyre wear is definitely going to come into effect, but the 2 Ferraris have done this all season. They put a lot of work into their tyre strategies, and they put a lot of effort into learning how to drive the car to make these tyres last as long as they do. So they usually do a one-stop, and it is a good effort from the Ferraris. You get a yellow flag in sector 1. Who is it? Oh, it's Defstez once again. Big spin out of turn 1. Reminds me of Alonso's spin a few years back. He has got a damaged front wing as well. Defstez has kind of had his race ruined by this wet weather. Had good dry weather pace, but not in the wet. But yeah, it will affect them, but the Ferrari boys have practiced a lot for it, and Defstez has retired from the session. Not a good day for himself. We'll finish with a DNF and outside of the points. Now, just want to point, we did say a few laps ago, didn't we? Let's see what Nibbler can do against Callum Spencer. He's taken about almost 2 seconds out of Callum Spencer since we said that, and that's been about 2 laps. So Nibbler gaining what, about a second a lap on Callum Spencer. And these guys could honestly go to the end on these tyres. They might not even try to pit again. But obviously, like we said, the Ferraris put a lot of work into figuring out how to drive these cars on worn tyres. Callum Spencer does not. So we'll get to see how much of a difference that makes. But right now, Nibbler's gaining at a second a lap.
Yeah, and it's showing too. And let me tell you one thing. I am pleased with how Colin J. Spencer, me and you both know that Colin Spencer is not really known for his pace in Formula 1 games. He's more known for his Gran Turismo side. But he loves the wet regardless of what game it is. Even in real life, he wishes all the races could be in rain. And it's showing that wet weather driving skill is really paying off, as he, of course, is in second place, splitting the Ferrari 1-2. And he's done a very good job here, showing his wet weather racing skill.
Safety car deployed, Zach.
Driving. Oh, we got a safety car. Don't know what this is for. I wonder if this could be for Defstez's retirement, because of course, the way the F1 games is designed, unfortunately, when a car retires, it doesn't exactly teleport them away. So here we go, Chazza in the pits. Let's see what Spencer does. Spencer stayed out. So
I don't think Callum's made it to the pits yet.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yep, he hasn't made... Actually, here he comes to the pits now.
Yep, he's in.
Yep, Spencer is in the pits, so Niblo goes into the pits as well. So all three of our guys, the top three, are in the pits. So this could have been a very good safety net for these guys. But we have a safety car, Toby. I cannot wait to see what happens at the start of the restart.
Yeah, that's actually
insane.
That's actually the first safety car this season, believe it or not. It's saying as this time, and like I was about to say, it is a get-out-of-jail-free card for those guys who are a lap down and are stuck on those wet compound tyres. Nemesis has taken that get-out-of-jail-free card.
Spencer's on the wets.
He is on the wets. That's very true. That's very interesting from Callum Spencer. Now, that could be race-winning, or that could be podium-losing decision from Callum Spencer here. And Altanovic pits as well. Ragnar does not. Ragnar will be the only driver so far who's not going to come into the pits. Now, will he take any track positions from that? He might take track position away from Nibbler. It's going to be very close here. Who's going to come out in P3? Does Nibbler have to deal with another Italian today? Ooh, it's going to be so close. And, ooh, Nibbler gets it. So Nibbler will hold on to third. Lucky for him. But yeah, it's a lap. Ryan's into the pits as well. It's very busy here. It is a good time for those lapped cars and anyone stuck on the unfavourable wets, or what we think are the unfavourable wets, to get out of jail free and take them off. We'll have to see what Dougie Afroman does, because that will be a kind of a reference point for us. But Callum Spencer doing the opposite to the Ferraris, and that's going to be very interesting. Ragnar's going to stay out on 16 lap hold into Zach, and I kind of get the feeling he's going to drop like a stone.
Yeah, definitely, because, you know, as you were saying, we pretty much thought unless he could have caught Niblo as he was rejoining the track, which I think he was just a bit too far to do that. He's on 16-lap tires. Lord Jord, when they restart, will be on 5-lap older intermediates. And so that's going to play a part with everything here. So
just give me 1 second, Zach. You take just give me 1 second. You take care of this. Sorry about this.
A bit of a technical difficulties here in the booth, guys, ladies and gentlemen. But so let's go through the field at the moment here. We got, of course, Chazza in the lead here. He just came out of the pits along with Colin J. Spencer and Niblo. So far, Colin J. Spencer being the only person to go on the wets. So this will play into effect to see, because we've seen everyone go into the wets and they've not had a very good job. We've seen Dougie Afterman go on the wets, not have a good outing on them. We've seen Nemesis go on the wets and not have a good outing on them. And so this will play really mindful games. I think Colin J. Spencer might see something. The rain is coming down, but I don't think it's coming down hard enough. But, you know, it has kind of rained probably just a little bit more harder, and probably a lot of track optimization since the safety car came out. So maybe this move could be the race-winning move for Colin J. Spencer if those two guys, especially with Chaz in front of him, if he slips up on the race restart with those intermediates, then it's game over for Chazza. Spencer comes away with the win. I think it happened here in the wet weather racing here, and that's why I love the rain so much, and I agree why they say sometimes every race should be the rain, because it's like we were saying all day. So many strategies coming in, it makes things entertaining, and now that we have a safety car, we're going to spice things up, and I believe Toby Byrne is back in the commentary booth.
I am. So sorry about that. Just had, I don't know if you heard that in the background. We had a little bit of an issue regarding a cat in particular. I was just noticing Nemesis Racing during all of that has been trying to unlap himself for quite some time. He's actually in front, splitting Chazza and Callum Spencer, but he's not unlapping himself. So he's kind of been allowed to unlap himself, but not fully. He's been allowed to get up to second, and the game has stopped him from progressing any further. So that's going to be interesting. He's going to have to get out of the way immediately for Callum Spencer as soon as the race restarts. By the way, just looking how far back Dougie Afroman and Murcielago are from the pack, they're having to push like a qualifying lap. If you're right on board with Dougie, he's having to push like it's a quali lap just to catch the pack before the safety car comes in.
And same goes for Super STI Ryan here. The safety car, where Chazza is, we're at the end of the final straight. Galactus Gold 2 is finally caught up to the pack. Super STI Ryan has yet to hit Maggots and Beckett's. And Dougie Afroman is just coming out of the hangar straight. And so those guys are very far back from the pack, so they might not even see the rest of the action of the race unless we get another safety car. Murcielago has caught up to the pack as well. And Nemesis, of course, is in front, splitting the two leaders. So, but yes, definitely a big gap between so far. We got a spin. I think that might have been the glitch on my end. Yes, on my screen, Danny Bin Laha is actually crashed, but that is not accurate because the game has glitched.
Danny Bin Laha has left the session.
Actually, he's left the session. So.
Now that means he can rejoin. If he can rejoin, he can take control of his car. But as it stands for right now, an AI driver will... Oh, Nemesis Racing disqualified from the session for ignoring yellow flags. He went to unlap himself and the game disqualified him. That is bizarre.
That is a lot of drama. Yes. So, of course, we talk about these Codemaster games, especially F1 being buggy here. Now, I would... It's kind of hard to explain how that would happen, but... You know, it's a bit weird how these games are, but I believe, I'm not sure, have we seen the safety car in this lap yet, Toby, or is it still...
Not yet, no, we haven't got the message yet. Danny Bin Laha has rejoined though, so he is back and ready for lights out. Ooh,
right, so
what is that?
Yeah, Lord Jordan UK. 5-second stop go with a severe collision with Danny Bin Laha. So I don't know if that has to do with the game glitching on my end, Danny Bin Laha, or something, but I believe everything might be back into play because I'm looking on the stream.
Sorry about that. Callum Spencer just was tenths of a second away from completely rear-ending Chazza as he broke to warm up his brakes and nearly took his front wing off completely.
All right then, so people getting impatient, especially with Callum Spencer getting a bit impatient and not minding, but I believe everything should be back in order because looking on the stream, Danny Bin Laha is 5th, and on my end he's on 5th, so safety car in this lap, so I think everything should be fixed on my end, so there should be no miscommunications anymore. And Chazza HD,
Danny leaves again.
Known, and he leaves again, but he's pulling a Sebastian Vettel. I don't know if you noticed this, he's holding up the field, he's pulling a Vettel, so he's going to get the gap between the safety car and the actual race.
Here we go.
Restart as we're back under the racing here once again, folks, at Silverstone in the rain. Can Callum Spencer and Chazza gets a bit loose coming into the chicane. That's going to allow Callum Spencer to catch right back on him. He's on the gearbox at Chazza. He's going to try to move. Could this be the playmaking pit stop as Danny Bin Laha has rejoined? Could these wet weather tires save Spencer? But I believe Chazza could have something up his sleeve as well as we're going through the corners right now. Here we go.
Nibbler hits him. Sorry, Nibbler hit Callum Spencer coming into turn 1. Does he have damage? Try see if we could see the front wing of the Ferrari.
Doesn't look like it.
But he made contact. He definitely hit the rear of Callum Spencer. Callum broke so much earlier than he was expecting, and he just went straight into the back of him. Now, it's so wet, but I don't know if Callum Spencer's tyres are up to temperature yet because he's going to lose second to Niblo in the Ferrari unless he can hold it around the outside and get the inside here. No, he loses second to the Australian. Were those wet tyres the right decisions at?
You know, it's like you said, it could have had warming the tire at all, and it's very hard to warm your tires up in the rain here as Mercy Logan gets a 10-second penalty for track limit exceeding. He probably just didn't have, like you said, the temperature in the tires probably wasn't up to speed as Danny Bin Laha retires from the session, so he was probably having a lot of connectivity issues with trying to rejoin, so unfortunately for him, he will become our second DNF of the race, joining Destes into the garage area. So, but now look at the gap between Niblo and Chazza here. Could this be? Do you think these two are going to play nice and have a 1-2, or do you think Niblo might actually try something for Chazza? Who knows as we're coming into the final few laps of this race. Anatanovic makes a move on Ragno, according to the game, so he moves from 5th to 4th.
Yeah, he did.
So far, that seems to be...
It was a pretty easy move, yeah, just to clarify.
All right. So, about a second or so between the two Ferraris here. I don't think these two are going to go for any drama, as I think they're wanting the Ferrari 1-2. But Chazza is pulling away, so it seems like the intermediates...
Oh, sorry about that, Zach. Wow, what a Ricardo-esque dummy.
I switched into that just in time to see that, but Kamjay Spencer makes the move. He gets slow out of the exit and does kind of... Anatanovic had no choice but to check up or going down to the hangar straight. So Kamjay Spencer, and that'll move Ragno to Anatanovic in threat of Ragno here, so Ragno getting into the mix of these two, and Galactic Skull 2 is into the mix with this one here, so the wet weather tires is on Colin J. Spencer, I think, Toby, is holding up everyone else, so I believe it wasn't a good move for Colin J. Spencer to go on those wet tires, as he is holding up the 4th, 5th, 6th drivers, and about to be the 7th as STI Ryan is catching up to these guys as well. So a bit of a Colin J. Spencer truly train here. Ragno goes completely wide off the track. Almost, but rejoins safely back. So, unfortunately for Colin J. Spencer, I believe that was the move not to make.
Yeah, we said it would either be the race-winning move or it would be the move that lost him the podium, and it looks like the latter. By the way, look at the run Callum Spencer has gotten away from Aneltanovic, but Ragnar is really under pressure from Galactic Skull 2. Aneltanovic really pressuring Callum Spencer, but not going to do it around the outside, not in a month Sundays, trying to go for a really long switchback. Actually works out for him. Side by side, going to be side by side on the outside though, which is going to be so much harder because Callum's not going to let that go, but he has to. He doesn't have the traction or the line. Aneltanovic up onto the podium, but you know, bloody hell, look behind him. Galactic Skull 2 getting forced off the road by Ragnar, which has caused Subaru Ryan to go the inside of the final corner. Contact between the Sauber and the Renault. Now the Ragnar's going to try and go around the outside of turn 1 on Callum Spencer. Nothing doing. Now Subaru Ryan comes along and tries to take 5th away from Ragnar. Ragnar looking for the inside of Callum Spencer. Nothing doing. And this Galactic Skull 2 around the outside of turn 2. Callum Spencer struggling. Contact between Galactic Skull 2 and Subaru Ryan, and now Ragnar as well. Big contact. Meanwhile, Callum Spencer, no traction at all. Big corner cut from Ragnar, sees him take P4, and now he's under pressure from the Sauber.
Will Ragnar have to give up that position? I didn't actually like to see how big the corner cut was, but I guess the game deems it legal. So we'll have to see at the end if Colin J. Spencer will, plead the case in here. But I believe there was a bit of contact also, Toby, between Aneltanovic when he made the move. There was more contact between Galactic Skull 2 and Colin J. Spencer, as Colin J. Spencer is falling way behind. He's about to come under threat from Subaru STI Ryan. Does Colin J. Spencer let him through, knowing that Subaru is way quicker than him? I don't think he will, as Subaru STI Ryan actually slows down to give Spencer more room going into the corner, knows how slow he is. He doesn't want to end his race in tears like that. But just big contact all over the place here. But I believe, coming down, Subaru STI Ryan comes out on the outside into Magus and Beckett as we're going down into the straight. So there to go, job done for here. It looks like Spencer just has no grip on those wets, and as you can tell, it goes from 2nd down to 7th, Toby.
Yeah, it almost, I don't know if it's a lack of grip, but it almost looks like Callum has a puncture. The way his car's losing traction in a straight line, obviously it doesn't because he stays out, but that car looks impossible to drive. And I think that's the word. By the way, Galactic Skull 2, out of nowhere, has just taken P4. Can we just get a little check? That means 7 positions gained by Galactic Skull 2 so far in this race. What a drive.
And I think he had some help with that, because I believe as I was going through the cameras, I think I saw Ragno almost go off into the runoff area. So I think that had a little bit of help. And oh my goodness, who is this? Colin J. Spencer's into the wall, Toby. He is into the wall. So
that
he
was
has lost grip
huge.
somewhere. I think he could have a puncture. I wonder if that could have been from the contact that you mentioned earlier. He could have a rear puncture.
That was a huge slam, and I'm massively surprised he's still in the race. If he didn't have damage then, he does now. That was huge. I can't believe he's still going. That's insane. I wish we could find out what happened. I wish we had a replay system we could use, because clearly that was a big accident. I'm looking forward to seeing the clips submitted to the stewards on that. That was absolutely huge. Mark's in here. I believe this is Mark from the FIA GT3 Series Championship leader going into the final round next week. Hello, Mark. He says, how much rain is needed to make the wets work? And that's very true. It's raining very hard, but the wets are doing absolutely nothing. Meanwhile, Subaru Ryan gaining on the Sister Toro Rosso at a rate of knots, Zach. And we have a yellow flag in Sector 2, and I get a feeling that's for Callum's. Oh, it is for Callum Spencer. No front wing. He's, oh, wow, 2nd to 9th, and now effectively out the race. But Chazza takes the win away from his teammate, Nibbler, who does serve that penalty across the line instead of in the pits. Aneltanovic will come home to take the podium. Callum Spencer gets a 5-second stop go for corner cutting. P4 for Galactic Skull 2. Fantastic drive. So, oh my God, Subaru Ryan spinning across the line in P5. Finishes backwards. He just took 5th.
Style, as you do.
He just took 5th away from Ragnar across the line. Dougie gets 7th. Lord Jov will get 8th. Callum Spencer, I'm not quite sure what I'm watching here with Callum Spencer.
I think that is the signature ComJ Spencer saying that I am done.
There's so many penalties coming in the little feed.
Yep, that is the typical ComJ Spencer. When he has a race that doesn't exactly go the way he wants it, he starts doing the corner cutting. So typical ComJ Spencer shenanigans right there. But at the end of the day, though, Chazza and Niblo with the Ferrari 1-2, Toby. So a big job right there between the two. You know, you talked about it. They had their tire strategy, you know, has been fit all season so far, and it proves again once again today here, as they are the smart ones not to go on the wets, as we've seen a lot of drivers today, both, you know, Nemesis Racing, you know, and of course a big one right now, ComJ Spencer, just showed that the wets just was not working. And that is a good question, though. You know, how much rain is needed for the wets to work? And clearly, even the game, I guess, doesn't know. But nonetheless, though, a good drive from both the Ferraris to get the 1-2 finish. So congrats to them too.
Little conga train forming on the cooldown lap. Yeah, that Ferrari is a formidable force at the moment. Don't think there's anyone in the league that can challenge them now when it comes to championship battles. Of course, that does mean 7 points in favour of Chazza today. Can minimise that gap a little bit to his teammate. Niblo did lead the championship coming into this series, and it is going to be Chazza who walks away with a maximum points. Good drive by Aneltanovic, got the podium in the end. He did battle very hard with Niblo for the privilege. Callum Spencer, a story what could have been if only he went for the inters rather than the wets. His race kind of came undone, and he won't be happy. So we see a very foggy Silverstone there, and you can see that I'm getting rewards for something that's irrelevant. So we can have a look at the race finishing. That's not happened before. So Chazza wins, and he probably would have won anyway because his teammate never served that 5-second stop go for speeding in the pit lane. Great drive once again by Galactic Skull 2. I believe that's his best ever finish in NORL when it comes to F1. So good effort by Galactic Skull 2. 7 positions gained. Subaru Ryan comes and finish 5th. That seemingly came out of nowhere, didn't it? Great effort by Subaru Ryan, even if he did drift across the line backwards. Dougie Aframan comes back from being stuck on the wet tyres and in last to take 7th. Lord Jord gets a lot of penalties, which drops into 8th. Callum Spencer, well, we saw what happened to him. And Murcielago, who was trailing around Zach almost 2 minutes off second to last, gets the final point. Good comeback.
Indeed, very good comeback. But yes, a very good drive from Galactic Skull, known for his GT3 speed in NRL, as of course he does come away with a couple of victories in the Bentley, but not really known for his speed for the F1 game. So a very good finish for him. But nonetheless, though, a very good drive for both the Ferraris in the wet weather. So I hate to be the stewards after this, Toby, because there could be a lot of controversy, especially toward that end at the restart after the safety car. There was a lot of contact, and I believe, you know, I don't know if you saw it as well, but there was a bit of contact, it looked like, between Aneltanovic and ComJ Spencer. So I wonder if somehow or another that might have messed up one way or another ComJ Spencer's race, besides the Mets.
Stewards are going to be busy, that's for sure. But until then, you can catch us again on Wednesday, same time as today. On Wednesday for the final. Do not miss it. For the final of the NORL FIA GT3 series. The battle between Mark, who was in the chat today, hello Mark, and Kedshi goes down to the wire at the Nürburgring Nordschleife circuit. Kedshi needs to win the championship. All Mark has to do is finish ahead of Kedshi, so do not miss that one. And then again, you can catch us next week for round number 11, and I'm pretty sure you've seen today why you don't want to miss that one either. Thank you, Zach, for joining me for commentating on this lovely one-off occasion. It was great to commentate against you, with you once again, and well, it didn't disappoint, did it? Thank you for watching, and until Wednesday, like I said, do not miss it. Final of the NORL FIA GT3 series. Don't miss it. Until then, thank you for your time, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye.